Police allege that this man, Jeremy Skibicki, murdered 4 Indigenous women and then left their remains in 2 different landfills near Winnipeg, Manitoba, the Brady and Prairie Green landfills. Later, the Progressive Conservative Party lost a major election in the province of Manitoba, replaced by the New Democratic Party and the province's first Indigenous premier. What does one have to do with the other? Well, it has to do with the systemic denial of justice to Indigenous people and racism against them. It's plain and simple. The now former government of Manitoba refused to search the landfills despite expert assurances. Protests and calls for a search erupted from Indigenous groups, the families of the missing women, the United Church, NGOs, and even workers' unions. Calls went out for the search of those landfills. Since the protests and the poor decision by the Conservatives to not only refuse to fund a search of the landfills, but to make it a campaign issue, including billboards. That's right, they made 4 likely victims of homicide into a campaign issue without having studied the issue properly themselves. The federal government has stepped in with some funding of $740,000 for the search of the Prairie Green landfill, suspected to be where at least 2 of the women, Mercedes Moran and Morgan Beatrice Harris, are to be found. After they lost their re-election campaign, they would describe the billboards and ads as, quote, deeply regrettable, end quote. They tried to wedge Canadians, using Indigenous pain and Indigenous people as the wedge, failed to understand the underlying nature of Canadians, and they failed. The party should take it as a lesson in truth and reconciliation, but sadly, they're not likely to do so. Long Plain First Nation, where Mercedes and Morgan are from, and who has been involved in a search feasibility study along with the Winnipeg Police Service, the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs, and an anthropologist, will get those funds to further the study and potentially take action. Potentially, the search could take 1 to 3 years and cost between $84 and $184 million. It's a dump, so there are some potential hazards in searching. But humans are really smart, and we have a lot of ways to mitigate hazards. Experts have said that a search can be conducted safely, and that similar searches have been successful in the past. In the Robert Pickton serial killer case, for example, RCMP in BC searched landfills for remains, and in Sault Ste. Marie, another landfill search located the remains of another homicide victim. The truth is we mitigate hazards all day, every day, whenever we feel it's justified or right, and this is both justified and right. There's no guarantee that Mercedes or Morgan will be found during a search, but when is there ever a guarantee that a search will be successful? The community understands that there is not a guarantee. It's important and it's vital to try, not only to bring these women home to their families, but to demonstrate that Indigenous lives are not to be politicized, and to move forward with healing and reconciling the past. These 4 women should not be added to the mind-bogglingly long list of those who remain missing, if that can be avoided. Rebecca Fonfa is the woman who sparked the investigation after some of her remains were found near an apartment building on Edison Avenue in Winnipeg. The remainder of Rebecca's remains were recovered from the Brady landfill. Jeremy Skibicki is charged with first-degree murder in the deaths of 4 women, Mercedes, Morgan, Rebecca, and a woman who is not yet identified, but the local community have named her, and I apologize if I don't get this exactly correct, Nashkoti Bishakikwe, or Buffalo Women. Now, more on the missing women whose stories shouldn't be lost just because a political party attempted to make their recovery a campaign issue. Mercedes Myron and Morgan Beatrice Harris are believed to have been killed on May 1st and May 4th, respectively, and then taken to the Prairie Green landfill on May 16th, 2022 in the same truck. Once police visited the private landfill as part of their homicide investigation, the landfill stopped using 2 cells that were used between May 16th and June 20th, 2022, where the company believes the remains must have ended up. There has been no dumping in that area since then, so as not to complicate an already complicated search. Morgan had her struggles in life, but she was known for her kindness to everyone she met. She was 39 when she was taken. She was a mom and grandma and an aunt and well-loved. Despite where her life may have been on any given day, she is described as happy-go-lucky and silly. Family and friends and even some complete strangers searched for her for months after she went missing. Her daughter Cambria has been put in a position that no one should ever be in, coming through it to become a strong advocate for the families. Mercedes was last seen in Winnipeg's North End and was reported missing in March 2022. She was just 26. Her family canvassed the city looking for her. The family says that she was a happy, smiley, and trusting person, and that they were concerned that being so trusting, she might also be exploited. Rebecca's family has been devastated by what happened to her. She was only 24, coming from Ochichakosipi First Nation, also known as the Crane River First Nation. She was a mom of a young daughter. She was friendly and soft-spoken with a big heart. Buffalo Woman is Indigenous, in her mid-20s. She has an average build and is believed to have been killed around March 15th, 2022. We don't know much about her yet, but if your community is missing a woman in her mid-20s who might have been in Winnipeg at the relevant time, please contact Winnipeg Police. The community named her Buffalo Woman to give her a name so that the ancestors recognize one another and so that she is acknowledged in the spirit realm. She is somebody's daughter, perhaps a sister, auntie, wife, and mother as well. She is loved, and her family deserves answers as well. Thank you. If you're enjoying these videos and want more, give us a follow. And thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you.